It's been a long 7-year journey with my Chase Sapphire Preferred, yet it's still such a crucial part of my credit card setup. And throughout that time, I think I've gained quite the experience trying to get the most out of this card. So in this video, I'm going through the top 9 ways to get maximum value from this card. Starting with one that most people often overlook, but it's one that can earn you tens or hundreds of dollars spending on things you would have been buying anyways. With companies such as Brooklinen, Fanatics, Solidcore, hotels across Westin and Sheraton, Caraway, and so many more. You could be saving 10%, 20%, or even more, and that's all through Chase offers. For example, I've saved $92.81 purely through Chase offers, buying things I would have spent on anyways. And because this just requires you to add it to your card, and you'll get statement credit when those charges hit, you can stack with other discounts like coupon codes on the actual websites, or other discount links like Rakuten, which you can stack another 10-20% on top depending on the rates at that time. For example, I have some travel coming up and I've been thinking, should I upgrade my luggage? At the same time, I've been seeing a lot of Quince ads, which just so happens to have a Chase offer giving me up to 20% back when spending over $250 or 10% back otherwise. Looking at the luggage, I could buy this combo of the carry-on and the check-in luggage for $300, which will cross the $250 threshold, giving me 20% back or $60. That's pretty significant. Yes, triggering these offers is not automatic. You do have to go in there, look at which offers you want, and add it to your cart. Where these savings here and there can add up to the extent of even offsetting that $95 annual fee if these companies really suit your spending habits. Which I think might be true because Chase probably personalizes these offers based on your spending habits already. Next, one of the biggest and long-term ways to maximize value on the Chase Sapphire Preferred is actually not with the card itself, but in combining it with some seemingly basic other Chase cards. One that gives you 1.5% back on all of your spend, and the other giving you 5% back up to $1,500 of spend in rotating quarterly categories, with ones this year being really broad like Amazon, restaurants, and grocery stores. And of course, these are the Chase Freedom Unlimited and Chase Freedom Flex cards, giving you the best of both worlds. On one hand, you have some really solid rates for everyday spend, with a solid couple $100 welcome bonus after meeting those minimum spends, all with no annual fees. On the other hand, the rewards you earn are paid out in points, so not 1.5% back, but 1.5 times points back, which can be used to convert to cashback, giving you that original 1.5% rate, or when combined with the Chase Sapphire Preferred card is where the magic really happens. Because the Chase Sapphire Preferred allows you to redeem these Chase points at an elevated 1.25 cents per point. That means the 1.5 times points could be thought of as 1.875% back in value, and the 5 times points on rotating categories can be thought of like 6.25% back in value when used that way. For example, in Q2 of 2024, Amazon, hotels, and restaurants were some amazing categories, so I was easily able to max out the $1,500 of spend that quarter. 5 times points on $1,500 is 7,500 points. That could be worth $75 for cashback or $93.75 when booking travel through the Chase portal. 2 quarters of that and you pretty much earned yourself a free hotel night in most cities. And that's why the combination of these cards is so powerful. Similarly, although I don't have the Chase Freedom Unlimited, I do have the Chase Inc. business cards, which you can move points between with the Chase Sapphire Preferred to unlock even more value from your rewards earned on the Chase Inc. Unlimited and Chase Inc. Cash Card. Take the Chase Inc. Unlimited, for example. Right now, there's a welcome bonus of $750 or 75,000 points after spending $6,000 in the first 3 months. Then, because your $6,000 of spend will also earn you those 1.5 times points, that's another 9,000 points. Meaning the welcome bonus itself, when completed, will net you 84,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards points. That's $840 in cashback, or when transferred over to the Chase Sapphire Preferred and redeemed through the Chase Travel portal, can net you $1,050 all earned on these no annual fee Chase Inc. cards. So in that scenario, purely by having my Chase Sapphire Preferred, I'm enhancing the value of the welcome bonus I've earned on the ink cards by about $210. Now that's some amazing value, but that's not it, because there's an even better way to redeem Chase points for even more value, sometimes 2 to 3 times the value. In fact, that's my main way of redeeming my Chase points, which we'll cover later on in this video. But for now, let's go back to the Chase Sapphire Preferred and another way to use the points on this card for more value that's again also underrated. One that gives you the highest cents per point value out of any method, kinda, and it's not even travel related. For example, giving you 50% off on Amazon purchases, sometimes up to $60 off by using just one Chase point. Like this user did, getting a 2TB SSD for less than $100, saving $60 off the original price. It's not that often where I get targeted, but I've had at least 3 to 5 of these high offers that save me a ton of money on my Amazon purchase over my 7-year time. So it's definitely not nothing. And when it matches up with ongoing sales on Amazon, it's even better. Alright, so now as a foodie, I love trying great food, and living in the city with so many options around me, it's amazing. It's one of the reasons why I love the 3 times points on dining, including takeout on the Sapphire Preferred, both in the US and internationally, given the card has no foreign transaction fees. And also why I thought the refreshed Amex Gold card with the 4 times on dining and the new Resi credit is still pretty solid, but just sucks that I don't qualify for the welcome bonus on that card. But relating to food is one of my most used partner benefits on the Sapphire Preferred, and that's getting DashPass subscription, which is easily valued at about $100 per year, and saves me a ton of value from delivery fees and lower service fees. And with fees being so high nowadays, with a basic $23 meal going as high as $35 after all of these fees, saving $3 to $5 on every order throughout the year can really add up, especially on those bigger orders. It does say this benefit only lasts throughout the end of 2024, but I really hope they continue to renew this. Food aside though, another thing that brings me a lot of joy is having those amazing travel experiences, which I've been fortunate enough to do so over the last few years through multiple cities in Asia and multiple 5-star airlines. And so it's awesome that not only will I earn 2 times points on all of my travel expenses with the card, but I also have access to $50 of credit every anniversary year towards hotel stays booked through the Chase Travel Portal. Now I will say that from my experience, the Chase Travel Portal doesn't give you the lowest of low prices, usually slightly elevated compared to third-party sites or even other portals like Capital One. But when you do find a stay, usually a hotel in a less popular city, is a great way to get back almost half of the annual fee by using this one credit. Like here in Seattle at the Edgewater Hotel, showing very similar pricing between both the Chase Travel Portal and Google across the different websites. But speaking of travel, here's a secret power that this card has that most other travel cards don't, including premium ones like the Amex Platinum and even the Capital One Venture X. And it's the specific version of this card's trip cancellation and interruption insurance, which covers up to $10,000 per person or $20,000 per trip if it's canceled or cut short by sickness, severe weather, or other covered situations. That's compared to the Capital One Venture X, which has a much narrower list of what's actually covered and only up to $2,000 per insured person. Honestly, it wasn't until reading this fine print here now that I realized this specific insurance on the Venture X is actually pretty poor. And even if you look at the American Express Platinum card, yes, it has the same limits as the Preferred at $10,000 per person up to $20,000 per trip, which it should, given it's a whopping $695 annual fee card. The key difference is in this line here that specifically says if you purchase a round trip entirely with your eligible card. Keyword entirely. If you're purchasing your flights direct with the airline, then yeah, this card is great, especially since you're earning 5 times points when booking direct with airlines. But for those of us who like to use our points to redeem for flights, then this may not qualify if you're only paying for fees and taxes, which is not the entire trip. And that's exactly what makes the Chase Sapphire Preferred's version stand out, because it defines a trip as having booked when just some portion of the fare has been charged to the account, which which taxes and fees are usually eligible, which is why pretty much for all of my flights booked with points, I've primarily used this card to pay for my taxes and fees. What's more is that this style of definition of just paying for a portion of the trip, the item, carries over to other benefits too, like purchase protection, travel accident, trip delay, baggage delay, extended warranty, and lost luggage reimbursement. And so all that means that I still have that peace of mind knowing I'm covered on my award trips as well. Now, we've talked about how this card benefits me when I'm booking flights and hotels, but another form of travel that we haven't covered is car rentals. Up until getting the Capital One Venture X in recent years, which offers me the top-end Hertz President Circle status, I've stuck to the Chase Sapphire Preferred for all of my car rentals for years, especially when I was in Seattle for 5 to 6 years without a car, during which not only did I do car rentals when traveling abroad, but also sometimes renting a car for going around Seattle, especially when going a bit further out. And so in doing so, I relied on the auto rental collision damage waiver on this card that provides primary coverage, saving me anywhere between $20 to $30 per day on my car rentals. It is important to read the fine print though, because it only covers periods of up to 31 consecutive days, but also not all cars are covered, which excludes ones like Alfa Romeo, Tesla, and even some models of Audi, BMW, and others. And then of course, one of the ways you can extract a ton of value from the Chase Sapphire Preferred are through the so powerful and flexible Chase Ultimate Rewards points you can earn on the card. With some solid multipliers on the card, with the 2 times travel and 3 times dining that I use most often, just spending without really thinking about it can net you a ton of points over the years. That, and who can forget the amazing welcome bonuses, offering a baseline of 60,000 points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months, sometimes going as high as 80 or 90,000 points. The reason why these points are so powerful: flexibility and value. On one hand, you can turn those 60,000 points direct to cashback of $600. That's already more than 6 times the $95 annual fee. Or use the travel portal. Like we covered earlier, you can redeem at 1.25 cents per point when going through that method, making your 60,000 points worth $750 through the Chase travel portal, which is $150 more in value just by having this card. Third though is my favorite way of using Chase points, and that's saving them up and then transferring them over to one of Chase's travel partners for some outsized value. And here's a specific example where I helped a friend book one of their trips in the near future. So they wanted to travel to Australia to escape the heat. So using Seas.Aero, I searched from either Seattle or Vancouver over to ANZ, which covers all of the large airports across Australia and New Zealand. At the same time, there was an ongoing 20% bonus transferring points from Chase over to Aeroplan, and with this flight distance being about 8,000 miles, it falls in this bucket, which would cost you 87,500 points for partner airlines. Factoring in that 20%, you'd only need to transfer 72,917 points to book those flights. Unfortunately though, and these aren't the exact dates, but we pretty much couldn't find any good redemptions throughout that time, where most of these cost at least 200,000 points plus, and flying domestic airlines like United and Air Canada. And that's just life sometimes. Award flights aren't easy to come by. So next I thought, what's another city, probably in Asia, that has a high chance of still having award flights to? In my experience, that's to Taipei, likely through China Airlines, and that's exactly what we found. At the same time, there was a 30% bonus going from Chase to Virgin, and Virgin has a partnership through SkyTeam with China Airlines, where this flight across this distance would have costed 100,000 points, but because of the 30% bonus, you would only have needed 77,000 Chase points. Now that we have a flight going to Taipei, we looked back to Aeroplan to see how we can get from Taipei over to Australia. But because my friend also has never been to Singapore and the times of the availability matched up better, we actually routed through Singapore first before going to Australia. On top of that, he can try 2 different airlines that are pretty much the top of the industry, like EVA and Singapore Airlines, all with just 60,000 points, but with a 20% bonus, only 50,000 Chase points. All in all, he'd be flying China Airlines over to Taipei, and then EVA over to Singapore, and then Singapore Airlines over to Brisbane. All amazing airlines for just 127,000 Chase points. With these flights being valued at over $3,000, that's easily 2 to 3 cents per point at minimum. Yes, it's definitely not the cheapest, where the cheapest is more like around 80,000 points, which I am seeing for some of these last-minute flights. But again, you're flying those domestic airlines, which are definitely not as great and are usually a lot harder to find in availability. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, with so many details left out that we couldn't cover in this video. And so go on and check out this one for an in-depth step-by-step guide on exactly how to earn those points, find these flights, transfer and book them for some amazing experiences. See you over there.